Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Budget Deck Tech. This is a series where I take a look at a MTG intro pack and I spend $10 and see how much I can improve that deck. So in today's episode, we'll be looking at Unlikely Alliances. This is a black-white deck that came out with Eldritch Moon. It contains a lot of small creatures, a lot of token creatures, and just a lot of creatures that benefit from other creatures going to the graveyard. So we're going to see what we can do to improve this deck to get it to be a little more competitive. The rules here are going to be pretty straightforward. So first, I've got a maximum of $10 Canadian to spend on cards to add to the deck. I'll be using prices from 401games.ca for this. Secondly, I've got to keep it to a 60-card deck. Thirdly, the deck currently contains cards from the Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon sets, and I'm going to keep it that way, so any new cards I add have to come from one of those two sets. And last, and probably most importantly, is KISS, keep it simple. My goal here isn't to totally recreate the deck, it's to just improve it. So I want to keep the same colors, the same feel to it, and just make a slightly better, but still fun, competitive deck. So we're going to start out with a card that I think ties this whole deck together. Campaign of Vengeance is an enchantment, and whenever a creature you control attacks, the defending player will lose 1 life, and you'll gain 1 life. The nice thing about this is that the creature doesn't have to live, the creature doesn't have to actually damage your opponent, it just has to attack. So if you have multiple copies of this card out, and multiple creatures attacking, the damage definitely adds up really quickly. So the deck currently comes with 2 copies of this in there. They're very cheap, so we're going to want to add 2 more copies. So we're going to have a playset of Campaign of Vengeance in here. So this next card is going to really complement Campaign of Vengeance nicely. We're going to add 4 copies of Pious Evangel, and we really want to transform him into the Wayward Disciple as soon as we possibly can, because when he's transformed, every time one of your creatures dies, your opponent will lose 1 life, and you'll gain 1 life. So these 2 cards are really going to create the backbone of our deck, and because of these 2 cards, we're going to create a fairly creature-heavy deck here. We're going to want to have a 1-drop creature in the deck as well, so Sanitarium Skeleton is a 1/2, and the nice thing about him is that we don't care if he dies. Whenever he's in our graveyard, we can pay 3 mana and just return him to our hand. So the deck currently comes with 1 copy, and we're going to add 3 more to have a full playset of this guy in the deck. And next up, we got another creature that we actually want to see in our graveyard. We got the Nearheath Chaplain. So this is a 3/1 with lifelink, but the nice thing about him is that when he's in our graveyard, we can exile him, and then bring back 2 1/1 flyers onto the field. So the deck currently does come with 1 of him. We're going to add a full playset to our deck now. So we're going to need a couple of big hitters here. So we're going to add 2 creatures that will grow over time. So first up is Unruly Mob. It is a 1/1 creature, and whenever one of your creatures dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, so over time it will grow pretty big. The deck currently comes with 2 in it, and we're going to add a full playset of this as well. Next up is Gavony Unhallowed. This is just a stronger starting version of Unruly Mob. So the deck currently comes with 1 of them, but we're going to want a full playset in the deck. This next card is going to eat up a big amount of our budget, but I think it's well worth it. The Hamweir Militia Captain is a 2/2 creature, and once you've got 4 creatures in play, you can transform him into the Cult Leader. So this guy is just going to be a constant source of 1/1 token creatures. You're going to be able to attack with him every turn, you'll be able to gain life, make your opponent lose life, and it just kind of fuels a bunch of your other cards. So we're going to add a full playset of these to the deck as well. And we'll need 1 or 2 removal spells in here as well. So we've got Ruthless Disposal. This is a card that can pretty much take out any 2 of your opponent's creatures. The deck currently comes with 2 of them, and we're going to keep both of them in the deck. And we're also going to keep the 2 copies of Blessed Alliance in the deck. It's just a really good all-around instant to have. So next up, we're going to add Borrow Grace. We just need some way to pump our creature's offense or defense, or both if needed. This is a really good instant, lets you do that. And so the deck currently comes with 1, but we're going to want to add a whole playset of these to the deck. Last up, we're going to keep in the 2 copies of Angelic Purge. So this is just a really good way to get rid of another creature, artifact, or enchantment. And for land, we're going to go fairly light here. We're only going to have 22 land in the deck. This is a lot less than I normally do have, but because the creatures are so small and the spells are so cheap, I think we can get away with that. So we're going to add in 10 swamps and 12 plains, and that takes us to a total of 60 cards in the deck. And that's it, that's all. So it's a pretty basic deck, but it's pretty quick. It lets you overwhelm your opponent with all your creatures, and it's got different ways for you to gain life and have your opponent lose life. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll see you again next time.